Well, Virgin Airlines boss Paul Scurrah has made some shocking predictions, announcing yesterday the devastating toll the coronavirus pandemic will have on the airline. He expects international travel for Australians to be halted until at least 2023, after 3,000 jobs were cut. A lot of questions remain about the future of Australian travel and what we can do and what we can't do. Joining me now to explain where to from here is Australian Travellers founder, Quentin Long. Great to see you tonight, Quentin. This is such a vexed question, such a vexed industry at the moment. What's your sense as far as international travel is concerned? You're thinking maybe not till 2023.
Yeah, g'day, Gleeson. Thank you so much for having me. But it really depends on who you talk to about what they say. There's a few vested interests, obviously, behind that. But if you look at what the federal government came out with their government budget papers most recently, they really saw a very slow lift in international traveller for Australia from about January next year, which is real continuation of the repatriation and really only emergency travellers. And then from July next year, they were predicting an uptick in the way people travel. IATA, which is the federation responsible or the organisation that sort of represents the interests of airlines, are predicting we won't get back to the same level pre-COVID until 2024. Paul Scurrah's comments really are in the context of what Virgin is predicting and what Virgin will be able to do coming out of receivership, which is really not operating long-haul international flights until about 2023. The consensus is there's two really viable models here. One is with a virus and one without it, where we actually do get a vaccine. So in a non-vaccine world, it really is a lot more extended, and in a virus, in a vaccine world, obviously middle of 2021 is probably more likely.
Quentin, I was going to say it sort of all relates to the vaccine, doesn't it? I think the vaccine is absolutely crucial here. Now, travellers are losing confidence as the Queensland border shuts. Is that affecting Queensland tourism?
Oh, absolutely. And what's really happening here is not just that it's shuttering people and stopping them from travelling and you're getting the cancellations that come through. The ancillary effect of that is confidence. And so people stop feeling confident that they can book travel across borders. And so as soon as we all know, as soon as you start losing confidence, you actually start losing sort of bookings and things like that. And so the more open, shut process we go through, the worse it is for confidence, the worse it is for confidence, the worse for bookings. And really, I think the whole industry cannot wait till November 1st, because that's when the Queensland state election will be over, because there is a feeling that some of these sort of restrictions are politically motivated, because every time Palaszczuk closes the border, upticks their popularity, and therefore it sort of it's almost an absurd sort of incentive or moral hazard, if you like, for her to close borders. And so she's a bit of a hair trigger on closing them down.
Prescient stuff there for sure. Now, I've been dying to ask you this question. Cruising, I mean, it's copped a bad rap. The Ruby Princess was just such a fiasco. Where to from here for cruising?
Yeah, that's another billion-dollar question. And what's going to surprise most people is cruising will not go away. It is a very popular pastime. Our studies, we do a whole bunch of research. We're doing weekly tracking as we speak. And 2% of Australians tell us that the first thing they want to do once coronavirus or COVID-19 is over is get back on a cruise ship. And that tells you the resilience of the industry. And it also does indicate to you just how rusted on the cruise traveller is. What that doesn't show you, though, is the market share that they will lose. The cruise lines were doing brilliantly because they were attracting what they call the new-to-cruise market. And that was really fueling a lot of that growth. A lot of the people who had friends who'd been on cruises never thought they'd go on a cruise and were starting to consider it. And that was probably between 7 and 9% of the Australian population of what we call that cruise-curious market. And they were starting to really start to come on board. They're all going to go, and there's still going to be that core hard cruiser who loves it and are comfortable with the idea that you can get sick on a ship, but you have to be very vigilant not to, and are really used to that. So I don't see it going away. I don't think it was quite as big, and I think it'll take a lot longer to recover to the stage it was pre-COVID. But after probably 5 to 6 years, you might see it back to that, but it still will exist. It'll be very different. It'll be very, very different. All the protocols will be in place. They'll be spending a lot of time and effort and money on making sure it's a safe and really enjoyable experience for those that do it.
Quentin Long, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us on Sky News across Australia.
Thanks, Gleeson. Lovely to see you. Thanks for having me.